Academia's infatuation with Marxism and the rise of administrative activism have led the U.S. education system down an unsustainable path. The creation of political activists has superseded the will to educate future generations. The poor are getting the worst of this because they lack the luxuries of school choice. As Thomas Sowell said, propagandists in the classroom are a luxury that the poor can afford least of all. While a mastery of mathematics and English can be a ticket out of poverty, a highly cultivated sense of grievance and resentment is not. The benefits of school choice are clear to America's elites, who regularly send their kids to elite private institutions. Biden, Pelosi, and many Democrats send their children to private schools while opposing school choice for our nation's youth. However, the American hero Dr. Thomas Sowell has been fighting for charter schools for decades. In Sowell's book, Charter Schools and Their Enemies, he stated, "In a realm where educational failure has long been the norm, schools in low-income minority neighborhoods, this is success, a remarkable success. What is equally remarkable is how unwelcome this success has been in many places. What has been especially remarkable is that it has been the most educationally successful charter schools that seem to have drawn the most hostility, both in words and in deeds." Some Republicans have been pushing for school choice recently. Senator Rand Paul fought to keep schools open during the lockdowns. Paul has fought Anthony Fauci while continuing to push for school choice. The senator knows kids get stuck in failing public schools and parents need an opportunity to get them out. Back in 2020, Dr. Paul said this: "This is an idea that there are government funds out there already and they follow poor kids to poor districts. I'd like them to follow the student where the student wants to go. So if you have a poor child in your community, or in northern Kentucky, and they want to come here and they can't afford it, that tax dollar is already following them to a public school. Let them follow them to a private school." During the COVID-19 lockdowns, many students fell even further behind. This is quite scary, given that the U.S. has failed students for years. These students were already behind their European and East Asian counterparts in math and literacy. Teachers' unions have the biggest advocates for school closures. Is there anyone in the country who wants to work less? As the Heritage Foundation points out, these unnecessary closures will have profound negative consequences on children. As Jan Crawford recently said on CBS's Face the Nation, children will be paying for our generation's decisions the rest of their lives, decisions largely being driven by teachers' unions. Fear and narcissism are driving these closures, not safety. Many school administrators are more interested in personal agendas than in helping kids. The only way to solve this problem is to abolish the bureaucracy. The Department of Education has only shown progressively worse results since its inception in 1979. And teacher unions are essentially super PACs for the Democrat Party. They have ramped up political funding in recent years. Between 2004 and 2016, they increased donations from $4.3 million to $32 million. Fund students, not systems, and you help solve this problem. However, even if school choice were passed tomorrow, the fight would not be over. Parents will still need to be alert to woke indoctrination at private schools. It is happening there as well. As James Lindsay says in a tweet, "If you're going to pass a school choice bill, you'd better make damn sure the money that gets to follow the child doesn't come with any pathway to having state strings tied to it. The woke Marxists will make quick use of your choice if it does." You might also want to look at accreditation pipelines, licensure, potential monopolies, and the fact that the universities, especially elite ones, are not only woke but selecting for woke. Homeschooling is another option, but not everyone can do that. We do not want state bureaucrats deciding what is best for homeschool or private school students. A return to more locally managed education would be beneficial for everyone involved. In their 1990 book, Free to Choose, Milton and Rose Friedman wrote, "Parents generally have both greater interest in their children's schooling and more intimate knowledge of their capacities and needs than anyone else. Social reformers, and educational reformers in particular, often self-righteously take for granted that parents, especially those who are poor and have little education themselves, have little interest in their children's education and no competence to choose for them. That is a gratuitous insult. Such parents have frequently had limited opportunity to choose. However, U.S. history has demonstrated that, given the opportunity, they have often been willing to sacrifice a great deal, and have done so wisely, for their children's welfare. It has become obvious in recent years that public schools fear parents even more than they fear competition from private schools. Parents are the most interested in stopping the woke indoctrination of their children. Hopefully, parents won't let up and will continue to show up and make themselves heard at school board and city council meetings. Teachers' unions could be dissolved by a president with the will to do it. Ronald Reagan did it to the Professional Air Traffic Controllers Organization, PATCO, in 1981. If the populist President Trump were re-elected, he might do it. Trump will do whatever he believes will make him more popular. It is successful charter schools that are the real threat to the traditional unionized public schools. No charter school network examined here has been more successful educationally than the Success Academy charter schools in Harlem, Bedford-Stuyvesant, the South Bronx, and other low-income minority neighborhoods in New York City, and none has been more often or more bitterly attacked in words and deeds. Dr. Thomas Sowell. It is important to remember that school vouchers are not a total panacea, but they are a great start to a better education for this country.